Yeah, I know this review is late, but at least you're getting a review, damn it! Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy back again with another review with a new outlook and a new background. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And I'm here today to review the movie Divergent. So Divergent is yet another film based on a teen novel that takes place in a dystopian future where in this society, people are split into 5 different factions. You got the Amity faction, who are the kind and caring people. You got the Candor faction, who are these people that are brutally honest. You got the Erudites, the intellectuals. You got the Abnegation, who are the selfless people. And finally, you got the Dauntless, who are the protectors of this society. They are the fearless ones. And we follow this girl by the name of Beatrix, or Trish, as she later will be referred to in the film, who is a youth that's a part of the Abnegation faction and has to take this aptitude test to figure out which faction she fits in the society. And when she takes the test, she finds out that she doesn't actually fit into just one faction, but actually 3. We call it Divergent. And so in finding this out, she now has to keep it a secret that she's a Divergent and ends up choosing a different faction than her parents, the Dauntless faction. And throughout most of the movie, we follow her as she trains to be a Dauntless, but we slowly start to see that there's some sinister work happening behind closed doors. Now, when I first heard about Divergent, I honestly thought, oh god, not only did we have the Twilight ripoffs, but now we're gonna have the Hunger Games ripoffs? Great. I mean, think about it. A badass, independent, rebellious girl in a dystopian society. You can see the similarities there. But I gotta say, I did really enjoy Divergent, and they have a lot of factors in the movie that are very different and helps it stand out from the other teen novel-based films. First off, I really dug the concept of the different factions in this society, and each one serves a purpose that helps the society function as a whole unit, and I thought it was pretty interesting. And it was very interesting to see the different lifestyles and mindsets that each faction had. Now, some factions had less attention to them than others, but when they make a sequel, and they will make a sequel, I'm guessing they're gonna flesh those out a little bit more, which will be very interesting to see. Now, as for the characters and the acting, for the most part, I liked most of the characters, although I wish that some characters had a little bit more screen time, were a bit more developed and fleshed out. I would have loved to know more about them, but they served their purpose and they served it well. One of my favorite characters in the movie was actually the girl that befriends Beatrix as they're heading to the Dauntless. I guess it's kind of like their headquarters. She was really fun, really entertaining. I loved her personality. And as for the acting is solid across the board. Everybody did a really good job in their performance. Cheyenne Woodley did a really good job at portraying this strong female protagonist who we really empathize with. We want her to succeed. She did really good in that role. And she has some gorgeous eyes. Like, I'd be watching the movie and just look at her face and I see her eyes and I would just get lost and entranced at how beautiful they look. And wow. I'm sorry. Back to the review. But honestly, Cheyenne Woodley does a really good job as Beatrix, and she's not just a Katniss copycat. She had her own flair, her own personality that made her really stand out as a character and as an actress, and I really liked it. But honestly, the standout performance, the one that I really liked the most, was from Theo James. That guy was awesome in this movie. He plays this guy named Four. It's kind of funny how his name came about, but he plays a guy named Four, and I really liked his performance. He was both tough, but also caring and compassionate. I really like how layered his character was, although he did get a bit cliche later on in the film, but I really just liked his character overall. Even though he did get cliche at the end, it didn't change the fact that he was still a really good character, and I thought the performance by Theo James was really good. Other stand-up performances include Miles Teller as this douchebag guy who's also trying to get into the Dauntless. I mean, this guy plays a douchebag very well, and he was a little funny now and again in the film. Ashley Judd as Beatrix's mother, I thought she was really good, and I loved how the movie put a lot of emphasis on the parents. I mean, in a lot of these teen novel based films, we don't really get to see the parents and they don't really get to interact in the film that much. In this one, the parents do have some importance and relevance to the story, and I really like that. And the last standout performance, of course, goes to Kate Winslet as the cold and intellectual woman from Erudite, who is all about maintaining the peace at any means necessary. And I will say this about her character: although she is kind of the main antagonist of the movie, where she was coming from wasn't entirely wrong. Again, she was all about maintaining the peace no matter what had to be done. It was kind of like the necessary evil that she had to commit in order to keep the peace. Although I could see where she is a little blindsided because she is very biased in her beliefs compared to other beliefs. Now, it's not to say that I'm validating what she did in the film or that it was right. It's just that from her perspective, she looked at it as the necessary thing to do to maintain the peace in this world, or else there'll be another war that will devastate the world, and she doesn't want that to happen. But man, she's a cold-hearted bitch. And the last thing that I really liked in this film was the visual look of the film and the soundtrack. This film looked really good. I mean, the cinematography was solid, the visual effects looked really good, and the soundtrack is just epic and just, oh yeah, I'm so pumped and hyped. It gets you really excited. I thought the soundtrack was really good, and honestly, I want to buy this soundtrack. I mean, there were some really good songs and really good scores in this soundtrack. But as much as I did like a lot of things in Divergent, there were a couple of things that I didn't like in the film. And the first thing I will mention is actually the love story in the film between Beatrix and Four. It felt really forced. Now, it's not to say that I dislike these two characters. As standalone characters, I really like them. It's only when they start to go down that romantic path that I started to notice the same tropes and cliches and silliness that you would see in any given teen novel based film like Twilight or Hunger Games or, oh god, Vampire Academy. But I know their demographic is gonna eat that shit up because that sappy romance was made for them. They're the target audience. But it would have been really nice to see them approach this relationship in a different angle. I mean, they were teacher and student. It would have been really nice if they developed a teacher and student bond and kept that throughout the entire series. For them to just go down the sappy romance is just cliche and generic now. And honestly, I never really felt a romantic bond between the two of them. And going off of the whole clichéness of the romance, some of the story elements in the film are very cliche and predictable, copy-paste from other teen novel-based films that we've seen thus far. And lastly, as I mentioned before, I wish that some of the characters had more screen time, more development, and were a little bit more fleshed out. One character in particular, Maggie Q's character. This character was very fascinating, and she had a very interesting backstory that dealt with her brother that I would have loved to know more about, but her character only really gets like 3 minutes of screen time and then she's just pushed to the wayside. And I thought that was a huge waste of potential because there was an interesting character and an interesting story to explore there, but they just pushed it away. Why? But overall, even though I did have a couple problems with the film, I still really enjoyed Divergent. It had a very compelling story with some interesting characters, great visuals, awesome soundtrack, and some solid acting. And that's why I'm going to give this film a 4 out of 5 stars. I think that it's definitely worth watching, especially fans of the Divergent series and fans of teen novel-based films. But anyway, what did you guys think of this film? Did you like it a lot? Did you find it boring and disappointing? And for you Divergent fans out there, was it faithful to the source material? And let me know who is your favorite teen novel heroine. Comment below and let me know. And also stay tuned. I hope to review The Muppets Most Wanted tomorrow. And I hope to review Higurashi Season 2 sometime this week. And I also got some new movie reviews coming your way. So you're going to get a shit ton of videos coming your way. And also stay tuned next Monday for my monthly live chat at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But until then, guys, hit that subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Welcome to the Black Critic Guy. Like this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'm Tony Wilder II, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.